Unknown submarine contact in the vital area. Away the Nixie team away. Away the Nixie team away. Set general quarters. Set general quarters. General quarters, on hands, leave out 6.
You're pointing at me. I'm supposed to do something.
You're on.
You're pointing at me. This is a new year and you're pointing at me. But tonight, Clint and BZ are going to tear through the gristle of today's screaming headlines and rip out the sinewy tendons of truth ensconced within, all from the hoary streets of Sacramento, Fornicalia, exposing the trembling toadies, the sniveling jackanapes, and fripperous fopdoodles infesting altogether too much of this great nation of ours. Please feel free to partake of our chat room at shrmedia.com, featuring the effervescent contrarian, myself.
Yes, you.
Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained vulbosity of the Zeppmeister himself, seated right across from me. Together we are doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts. Some contents may have shifted during shipping. Not a member of FDIC. Batteries not included. Terra Cross dotted line. Eco in Mexico. Patent pending. Warranty void in Montenegro. Tonight, we talk about the veritable gaggle. No! A shrewdness, a murmuration, an obstinity, a warren, a pandemonium, a gaggle, a muster, a covey, an unkindness, a maelstrom, a knot, a shiver. A murder, an intrusion, a smack, a hive, a prick.
A prick? There you go.
Yea, a veritable cauldron of topics. Yonder across from me sits the bulbarious one himself.
I am the bulbarious one.
The
Zeppmeister. I'm going to write that down. I like that. The bulbarious.
You like that one?
Yes, I do.
This is what happens when I get to ad-lib a little bit.
Damn, I need to write that down. Okay, everybody remember bulbarious. Bulbarious. Okay,
Folks,
I like that.
This still is not an exhibition. It's not a competition. No.
What?
We are live.
What?
2020, we said it was no longer going to be an exhibition.
Oh.
We said it was going to be the real deal.
Can we wager?
No. Still no wagering.
Oh, crap.
Still no wagering. But
Son of a biscuit eater.
Halfway through the year, we may no longer be void in Montenegro.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. The contracts are extensive, to say the least.
I tell you what, we're up to at least, 50 pages at this point, I think.
At least.
Yeah, I'm talking, and why are you on the screen? Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
now I'm talking, and I should be on the screen.
Okay.
Now you're talking, and you should be on the screen. Now I'm talking.
Now you're talking. Okay.
Now both of us are there. It's 2020.
It is 2020, and in case you found out where to find us, we're on Twitter at 2 Against Tyranny, and please like us, follow us, share us, SHR Media Facebook page, and subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel.
You're doing it. You're doing it all, mister. It's all you.
Am I doing it?
You're doing it.
Right on.
You're KATN all over the dial.
No pool for me. What? Come on, Alaskan.
Why no pool?
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
What about pocket pool?
Oh, is that what he means?
I think so. I think so.
I have to tell you, folks, Clint is such a dude. Sometimes it takes a wheelbarrow to come down the driveway. And Alaskan, what do you mean no pool for him? Are you trying to tell him that not only does he have to stay off the lawn, but all you kids, get out of the damn pool. Get off my lawn right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have a BZ story.
You do? Let's hear it.
And then I hope you have a Clint story. And this will give you time.
No, is that BZ stories?
It'll give you time to conjure up a Clint story if you do have one.
I don't know. Go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, so anyway, welcome to everybody in chat. Welcome to Mike in chat, Dave in chat. Clint, look, who's this Clint guy in chat? The Alaskan and 2 viewers who will not be unmasked because we don't do that here.
No, we don't.
We
never unmask.
No.
We are not the FBI.
No.
Nor do we unmask.
We're not the chick that worked for the UN that unmasked everybody, and I can't even think of her name right now.
Nope.
Son of a biscuit either. Oh, impeachment pool. Oh, you can't be in the impeachment pool, Clint, because we have no wagering on the show. Okay, now I get it.
Oh, I got it. I didn't know what
now
we were talking
I get
about.
it. Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
That makes you, okay.
Only if we don't talk about it, though, right?
No, we can be in it if we don't talk about it. If we talk about it, then we can't be in it.
I want to hear your BZ story. What do you got?
Okay, so there I was. Wait.
That's not me.
That's you. Okay. There I am. Okay. So there I was at my wife's house, and it's in Sacramento.
Shatramento.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And so they're doing something in the neighborhood, and I'm not sure what it is. And it looks like it's from a company called Cable.com. I haven't looked them up yet.
Huh.
In any event, they've got a bunch of pickup trucks and stuff, and it looks like they're trenching, and they've got these big orange tubes on some circular reels. And I'm thinking, okay, they're either going to put up, hey, Whiskey Dale is in there. Great. Glad to see you, Whiskey Dale. So I'm thinking, okay, they're either going to put down like cable, internet, fiber optic, something like that.
Right.
Maybe they're updating the phone lines. I don't know. There's trucks all over the place. So I think, okay, I got to go out and get the mail. So it's about 3 o'clock. And all day I've heard the drone of machines and engines and stuff in the background.
Okay.
And I go outside, and my wife has a 3-car driveway, and there was one space open. Some son of a bitch parked their white Chevy van in her driveway.
Now, hang on. When you say a van, is this like a free candy type van? Is this like an Astro van? Is this like one of the large?
Kind of like the Astro van. It's like for a family.
Okay.
And I don't know, Chevy Traverse or whatever the Chevy van was from maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
But the other thing I noticed, besides the white van that doesn't belong to me or my wife, in our driveway,
right,
is there's this muddy water lapping at the rear tires of the van, completely covering the street and completely covering the sidewalk. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, is that inching its way up onto our grass? And about 2 seconds later, yeah, it is. It's inching its way up onto our grass. So I look down the street, and then I hear somebody start up another motor, and there's a whole bunch of people, maybe 500 feet away, kind of talking and yelling and stuff like that over these motors. And I'm thinking, oh, I get it. I know what these sons of bitches did. In the process of trenching, they probably hit a water pipe.
Oh,
no, it doesn't smell like.
Thank God.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like poo.
Okay.
So then I'm thinking, okay, I can turn around and go back inside until I look and I see that the water is a foot closer to me than it was, 5 seconds ago. And now there's a little river, and it's moving from my right to the left down to the corner, the opposite corner over there. And I'm thinking, okay, how stupid, silly, and fattening is this going to get when this finally comes? How far is this? Because her driveway is on an incline already. From the street, the top of the front door is probably, when you get to the top, maybe 4 feet from the mean level of the street. So I'm thinking, 4 feet? That's a lot. So I'm watching the water flood the grass and the yards of the houses across the street from her house. This is not looking good. Not only do I have to worry about a van in my driveway,
right?
Because my wife is going to be back, expecting to park in that slot in about 2.5 hours or so. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to deal with some kind of a man-made flood. So then I watch, I'm looking, and then it moves up towards me about another 1.5 feet. Just in the amount of time that it took me to explain this to you. Now it's past the wheels of the van parked in the driveway. Now it's about a quarter of the way up the driveway. So I'm thinking, there isn't a damn thing I can do. I hear all these guys down there yelling. It comes up about another 1.5 feet, 2 feet, and I'm thinking, God, what the hell can I put in front of the front door so that the water doesn't come into my wife's house? I'm racking my brain. I'm looking at it again. It is really flowing now. The water is flowing from right to left, and in that amount of time, another 5 seconds, it's crept up about another foot on the driveway. And now I'm watching it. It's now like a river. It's not just a complacent little stream. It's a river. So I go in, shut the door, try to put some towels behind the door because
that's going to help.
Because I don't have anything else. I go to the back of the house, go into the backyard, looking around for anything that might be available in her backyard to stem the flood that I know is coming. Can't find anything. Go out front, look at the front door, and it's now up to about 3 feet from the garage door. I'm thinking, in the amount of time that it took me to do that, about a minute, it's going to be coming up to the sidewalk leading up to the front door. I go in. I try to figure out, I go back to the side yard, which I haven't been to. Still can't find anything. Come back out, open the door, and it stopped. And in that amount of time, it has actually started to recede. Thanks, Cablecom. Don't know what you're doing. Don't know what you're putting down. Maybe you're putting down cable. Maybe you're putting down fiber optic. I don't know, and you didn't say, and I didn't stop to ask.
Are they an Iranian front company, and perhaps that was an attack, was to flood everybody's front yard?
Makes me wonder.
Because they understand that California doesn't have any water products or storage, so wasting water is a big deal.
Oh.
Is it possible it was a proxy? That's all I'm asking.
Makes you wonder.
Right?
It makes you wonder. So that's not a fun story, but it's... Then I started thinking, okay, if it comes up here, now I'm going to have to cancel the damn show. Because now I won't be able to... I don't have a huge 4x4 like a lot of other people in Sacramento, so I can't drive through this cocksucker.
Or a rowboat. Well,
or a rowboat of any kind.
People in Sacramento no longer have large trucks. They all have Priuses. I think I'm the last one with a truck.
You're probably the last one with a truck.
In all of Sacramento.
So thank goodness. Thank goodness. Dave Miller in chat says, Australian brush fires. Anybody? Dave, here's a programming note. Tomorrow night, I'm going to have Jack Alexander on the show, and he and I are going to discuss all the Australian brush fires, because it turns out that there's a lot more to the tale than meets the eye. Tonight, though, having said that, Clint, I'm looking at that camera. You set up a nice angle on that.
Do I have a nice angle on that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a
on
nice...
the trash cam.
Okay, what you can't see, folks.
It's the trash cam.
Is that
100%.
Clint customarily puts a trash box and sets the camera on the trash box so that he can be seen.
Yeah, because I didn't like the other angle.
Because he didn't like the other angle. And and I forgot to say again, thanks for my Diet Pepsi.
You're welcome.
One each right here. Always appreciate that. Always appreciated. So in the amount of time that took, is there anything even remotely close to Clint's story that you can regale?
That I can regale?
Yes, that won't get anybody in trouble or won't reveal top secret American intelligence information.
So I will say this. I was going through some stuff. I was actually looking for something different than what I ended up finding, but what I ended up finding was pure gold, and I had forgotten about it. So what I was looking for is I have my I'm going to do the math on this. My great grandfather's pocket watch.
Oh, you told us about that.
And it's pretty cool, but the clasp on it is broken, and I hesitate to take it in anywhere to get the clasp repaired because you hear a lot of horror stories about people that take the guts out of these old pocket watches, replace it with junk
right. or nothing.
Right. Now I have opened it up. I do have pictures of the serial number and all that stuff, but there are some components of it that could be taken out, stripped out, whatever, and I would have no idea. So I hesitate taking it anywhere, but it's really cool, and I actually want to start carrying it.
Oh, so okay, right now, does it work now?
It works. Yep, it works. It's just the clasp on it is broken, so it won't stay closed. So
is it something that you think you can find somebody to repair?
Because that's the thing. I don't want to leave it. I don't want to leave it with anybody.
That's really unique.
Yeah,
and you need a real specialist
yes.
to find somebody that can do something that unusual.
Yeah,
I mean, how many people can repair?
And how many are trustworthy? And that's just something that. So I'm being very, very cautious with it. But while I was looking for that, I ended up finding something that is a treasure from my youth, and it is so freaking cool.
In your house?
It was in my house. So I have like a couple bins. Everything's put away. It's not like my house isn't a mess or anything like that. But I have it put away where I have things where I was able to kind of bring them through from my youth. And I forgot all about this. But in a manila envelope, I look at this manila envelope, and it's an old, like, full-size envelope. And in there I find a couple things. One, I found a small envelope about, it was probably about, 10 or 12 inches wide, and it was addressed from the offices of Richard Nixon. Addressed to me.
To you?
Yeah, addressed to me. And this isn't what I found that was even super cool, but this is just I found it with this, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I should probably frame this. But what it is, so I wrote Richard Nixon a letter when I think I was a sophomore in high school or something like that. Basically just because I wanted to reach out and write him a letter. He was, my thought at the time is I understood the Watergate, I understood the stuff that he was involved with and so forth. However, there were some good things he did for the country. And
only Nixon can go to China.
Right. And I wanted to let him know that, hey, I'm a student. I'm a high school student. I'm learning about you right now, and I understand there were some issues with the presidency, and I'm paraphrasing here. However, I appreciate the good things you did for our country as well. And basically that was kind of the gist of the letter I wrote. Well, he sent back to me a photograph of him and his family, and it was hand-signed by Richard Nixon.
Really, very nice.
Cool. Yep,
very nice.
And I have the envelope and everything, so I can, people are always big on. I didn't know this back then, but people are big on, how do you know it's authentic? How do you know it came from it? Well, I have everything that came with it, which was pretty cool.
Okay, so when you found it, it was not framed.
No, it's still not framed. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in an envelope. I just have it forever.
You going to do that, do you think?
Yeah, I'll probably frame it.
I think
I'll probably
cool.
frame. I'll probably get that mounted and framed along with the envelope. That shows to my my name and stuff.
Yeah, I think that'd be
cool.
super, super cool. That's history.
Whether
you like him or whether you hate him, that's history.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I also have a couple unrelated. I actually have a couple hand-signed letters from Ronald Reagan to my grandfather and to his brother, which is pretty cool. You enjoy seeing those. I'd like to bring those in for you. But what I found that was super cool, and this is going to pale in comparison, but to me this is really cool. But what I found that was even cooler than that, I thought, was I opened this manila envelope and I slowly pull out this 8x10 glossy black and white photograph.
Okay.
And I immediately started to smile because I remember, it's one of those things you find and just the memory of the entire day comes flooding back. And I was like, oh, I remember this. And I pull this photograph out. And what this photograph is, it's an 8.5 or an 8x10 glossy black and white professional photograph. In the foreground, with a black leather jacket, open collar, large hair, hands on his hips, smiling, is David Hasselhoff.
Oh, don't hassle the Hoff.
In the background,
baby.
In the background, kind of behind him and off to the left,
Kit
is Kit.
No.
And it's signed to Clint. David Hasselhoff, best wishes, Knight Rider, like all the cool shit, hand signed, in black. I say Sharpie. I don't know what it was back then. I don't remember if it was actually that brand or not. And I immediately start smiling. So I loved Knight Rider. Like my shows growing up were Chips, Knight Rider, like, yeah. So I get, and I'm smiling because I remember the picture. And on the top of the picture, Kit signed it. It's KITT, Knight Industries.
Really?
Knight Industries 2000, by the way, is what Kit stood for, right?
Okay,
KITT.
I did not know that.
And I remember the story. So when I was a kid, and I remember seeing David Hasselhoff, oh my gosh, it's Knight Rider, right? And he got a big grin on his face, and David Hasselhoff's nicest guy. And I didn't remember any of this prior to finding this picture. But nicest guy, he signed it for me. And I remember asking him, can Kit sign it? Because when you're 8 or 9 years old or whatever it is, the car talks on the TV show. Oh, that's a great, I know right what that is. That's not Knight Rider. That's Chips. Chips theme song.
Yep.
Great song. So I said, hey, can Kit sign it? And he goes, I don't know if he's feeling up to it. Let me go see. And he takes the picture.
All right.
I'm a kid, right?
Sure.
I'm thinking,
and you're thinking, God, I hope the car is up to signing it.
I hope Kit signs it. And he said that. He goes, I don't know if he's up for it. Let me check. He doesn't always like to sign autographs. And because you think in the show, the car talks and everything else.
Yeah.
He takes the picture and he goes and he sits in the car and he wrote KITT at the top, like Kit signed the car. And he came back and he goes, "Hey, he signed it for you." And I was the friggin' happiest kid. Like I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And of course the other kids are like, "Oh, Kit signed your picture." Like that was so cool. So I took that out and I framed that. And
you have it framed now?
I have it framed, and I have it up in my office.
Nice.
Now, a couple cool things about this. Number one, my kids saw it. My kids know who Knight Rider is.
Okay.
The original series.
Right.
Because they watch it on In Demand. Those episodes, because I expose them to culture.
I didn't know that you could find that somewhere.
Oh, yes.
You can actually find
you can.
Knight Rider.
Yep. So I have the service I have Xfinity. And they have a streaming service and on demand, and they have Knight Rider episodes.
Wow.
That you can play. I don't know if Amazon Prime has it or Netflix. I don't know, but I can get it.
Boy, would that bring
on
back
my TV. And my kids love it. And
memories.
My boys lost their shit when they saw that. They were like, "David Hasselhoff." I was like, first of all, I'm so proud of you guys that you even know who he is. Because how awesome is that, right? And number two, that they appreciated as much as I did this autographed picture of David Hasselhoff and Kit. And the other great part about that is when I put it up in my office, every person that comes in my office has commented about how awesome that is, and just they laugh or they high-five me, but either way they comment about how awesome it is that there's an autographed picture of David Hasselhoff and Kit to me up in my office.
My guess, and you're going to have to correct me on this, my guess is it's not a 50-50 split. My guess is you get 75% people going, "That's cool," and the other 25% going, "Okay, who's that?"
I haven't had one person yet say, "Who's that?" Not a millennial.
Really?
Yes. Everybody.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty shocking.
Yeah, everybody recognizes David Hasselhoff, and they know Knight Rider. They recognize Kit. Now, they can't tell you that it stood for Knight Industries 2000, but
I couldn't tell you that.
KITT, yeah.
That is way cool.
So that's my Clint story.
That is really cool. I was looking on the phone to see if I can find this.
Yes, Dave, that is culture.
And I can't.
Hey, Whiskey, the Germans don't always love David Hasselhoff. I love David Hasselhoff.
Well, there's no accounting for taste. The French like, oh, God. Who's the
Napoleon?
The comedian.
Oh. Ricky Gervais? That was fucking brilliant.
Oh. Wait. Stop. The trouble is not in your set. I was going to do this on the other show. Do we have enough time? I'll do it. Okay, I'm going to do this after we come back, after the break.
What are you doing?
Jerry
we got
Lewis.
6 minutes.
Yeah, we do. No, this is 7 minutes long, though.
Yeah, it's all right. It's our show. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, hey, Mr. Producer, can we do that? Yeah, the producer says
Does
yeah,
it say?
because
Okay.
it's us. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sean just texted, yeah, do it.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Some things are bleeped out, but I think you can probably figure out what they were.
Hello and welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards, live from the
I got to tell you this. I saw a tweet from Ricky Gervais today, and Ricky Gervais said the 2020 Academy Awards will not be hosted. And then when he retweeted that through his account, he was laughing like hell. And folks, if you wonder, this is why.
The Hilton Hotel here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais. Thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did. NBC clearly don't care either. 5th time. So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood Foreign Press can barely speak English, and they've no idea what Twitter is. So I got offered this gig by fax. So let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So, yeah, Remember that. But you all look lovely, all dolled up. You came here in your limos. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no.
This is when they start to get it.
It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. So, lots of big celebrities here tonight. I mean, legends, icons, yeah? Look, at this table alone, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. But...
Let's cheer themselves.
And?
Baby Yoda. Oh, that's Joe Pesci, sorry. I love you, man. Don't have me whacked. But tonight isn't just about the people in front of the camera. In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year... It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, fifth time. So... We were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. It just... No. It was mostly white people. And I thought, nah, not on my watch. So... Maybe next year. Let's see what happens. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to the cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done, Netflix, you win everything. Good night. But no, we've got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge-watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer. And it's still more fun than this, OK? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? Right. But seriously, most films are awful. Lazy. Remakes. Sequels.
You didn't
I've
hear
heard
that.
a rumour
I was laughing.
there might be a sequel to Sophie's...
He made a comment about an airplane. Listen carefully now. I'm not going to say anything. Listen carefully what he said about an airplane.
I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? Right. But seriously, most films are awful. Lazy. Remakes. Sequels. I've heard a rumour that there might be a sequel to Sophie's Choice. I mean, that'd just be Meryl Streep going, well, it's got to be this one then. All the best actors have jumped to Netflix and HBO, you know. And the actors who just do Hollywood movies now do fantasy adventure nonsense. They wear masks and capes and really tight costumes. Their job isn't acting anymore. It's going to the gym twice a day and taking steroids, really. Have we got an award for most ripped junkie? It's no point. We know he'd win that. Martin Scorsese, the greatest living director, made the news for his controversial comments about the Marvel franchise. He said they're not real cinema and they remind him of theme parks. I agree. Although I don't know what he's doing hanging around theme parks. He's not big enough to go on the rides, is he?
Martin Scorsese
Tiny.
is a short dude.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That didn't go over well.
The Irishman was
hilarious.
amazing. It was amazing. It was. It was great.
Okay, stop right now. Did you see The Irishman? It's on Netflix.
No.
And it's the story of Joe Pesci is in it, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is the guy that, according to a book that this is patterned after, is the guy responsible for whacking Jimmy Hoffa. And so this tells the story in the background of how Jimmy Hoffa, who is Al Pacino, got whacked. And what happened to him?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. It sounds pretty good to me. In any event, it's 3 hours long. And I watched the thing and I thought, this is actually pretty good. It's pretty well done. But on the other hand, with today's audiences, you can't put a 3-hour movie in a theater anymore. They got away with it with the Avengers because it's folks in capes and whatnot. I don't know if people would have the attention span if there isn't action to watch a 3-hour movie anymore. In any event, no matter what you think about Robert De Niro, he's a dick. Mm-hmm. But I already pay for Netflix, so it didn't cost me anything. I didn't have to go into a theater. I already have the subscription, so just
because he's a dick doesn't mean he's not a good actor.
No.
He just needs to shut the fuck up and entertain us because that's what we pay him for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do your job and don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Long, but amazing.
It
wasn't the only epic movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long. Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. So...
And Leonardo DiCaprio laughed his ass off at that.
Yes, he did.
Even Prince Andrew's like, come on, Leo, mate. You know, you're nearly 50, son. The world got to see James Corden as a fat pussy. He was also in the movie Cats, but no one saw that. And the reviews, shocking. I saw one that said, this is the worst thing to happen to cats since dogs, right? But Dame Judi Dench defended the film, saying it was the role she was born to play, because she... I can't do this next joke. Because she loves nothing better than plonking herself down on the carpet, lifting her leg, and licking her...
I think you know what that was.
Furball. She's old school. It's the last time, who cares?
I love it.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show. A superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and... So...
And you know what he said there, the F word.
It's already 3 hours long.
Oh.
Right, let's do the first award. The first award. The first award is for Best Actor in a Television Series.
And we got that from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly, I'm a little surprised it's still up there.
I am too. That was from YouTube, but that was actually on what, NBC, MSNBC? Who aired that?
Oh, darn! Anybody know?
Not us.
It was ABC, CBS, or NBC.
Yeah, I don't. Somebody.
Yeah.
We're up against a break. That was good stuff. That was the best Golden Globes. And what's great is he doesn't give a shit. And he was like, why is it...
He knows he's not coming back.
But he goes, why is it conservative that I make fun of these people?
That's like Dave Chappelle. Have you watched the newest Dave Chappelle?
I have.
I've not been an historic, massive fan of Dave Chappelle. He hits some interesting points. But the latest Dave Chappelle... when he launches into blacks and he launches into leftists,
was pretty damn funny. I thought Dave Chappelle was genius when he did the blind racist. If you haven't looked at Dave Chappelle Blind Racist, it's pretty damn funny. But Joaquin Phoenix hit him too.
Oh yes, he did.
Joaquin Phoenix hit him too,
God.
which I was shocked.
I had completely forgotten about that.
Look, folks. is that a sign of the times that even people in Hollywood are sick of the bullshit?
It makes you wonder. But here's the thing. The bulk of leftists in Hollywood, the bulk of leftists, period, are not going to back off this shit until the general pool relaxes the pressure. And so, well, let me do this. We're not going to do a promo. I'll just do this as a reminder for everybody.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
That's called a sweeper.
Yeah, it is. But in any event,
those of you that are unfamiliar with the biz.
Yeah, the biz.
And by biz, I mean BZ. It spells biz. So
Right.
if you're unfamiliar with him, he likes to play the sweeper.
The biz.
Yeah, it's the
BZ.
biz.
In any event, why am I on you? There you go. Now I'm on me. This stuff isn't going to let up. It's relentless. Overall, Clint, let me throw a question, the fateful, fruitful frog at you, and that's this. Who's happiest generally these days? People on the left or people on the right?
People on the right.
Exactly. And why is that, do you think?
Because we have a great president. The economy's doing well. We're standing up in the Middle East. Things are happening in this country that haven't happened for a long time. I think as a whole, look, we have a president in there right now. Love him or hate him, you can think he's a dick, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, he's
you don't have to like him.
You don't have to like him. But if you take a step back and you look at the numbers and you look at the raw data and you look at what he has actually done, our country is in a far better place than it was 4 years ago. We have energy independence. We have our economy that's the best it's ever been. The lowest unemployment rate.
50 years.
In 50
5
years.
0
Yeah. The lowest minority unemployment rate since
lowest
they started
unemployment for Hispanics.
tracking
Lowest unemployment for Black
blacks.
Americans.
Yes, across the board. You look at his positions with NATO and his positions with Iran and in the Middle East and what he's done. Has he done some things that maybe I might personally not have pulled out of Syria in that manner, right? Quick with that quick or whatnot. I'm not saying it was the right call or the wrong call. I'm just saying I probably wouldn't have done it that way. But I'm not the president of the United States. I don't have all the same information that he has. But he's done a pretty damn good job, particularly since he's had a Congress that has done nothing for the last year except try to impede him every step of the way. Well, and I think it's interesting. Even when he first took office, he had Republicans who were trying to impede him. And then I think once a couple of them, Lindsey Graham being one of them, take a step back and be like, you know what? This guy's actually doing pretty damn well. Look at what he's done with the courts. So I think all of those things, he is standing up to the people who traditionally tell Americans we know what's best. And hey, shut up, we got this. You don't know what you're talking about. We know what's better for you than you do. America's not that great. We need to apologize for our history and we need to get great, but we're a horrible nation. And Donald Trump has 100% turned all that around. And I think conservatives are happy because somebody in power is saying, no, America is the greatest nation on earth. We do have the best military on earth. We do have the best economy on earth. And we're about American exceptionalism and taking care of our own people here at home, which then allows us to do more charitable, do more things for other people as well. And that's why I think conservatives are happier than progressives right now.
The other thing it gets down to is that there is an expectation of progressivism to the point where if you don't tote the proper line 24/7, you will find yourself under some kind of personal, verbal, sometimes even physical assault for not towing that line. And it's almost like the new social scores in China.
Yeah.
And that's a high threshold to meet.
But
24/7.
But conservatives get that from the left anyways. all the time. A leftist may get that on a particular issue that they don't see eye to eye on. Conservatives get that from the extreme left all the time.
But there isn't
and
that amount.
And we're still a happier group.
Oh, most definitely. But there isn't that pressure. The point is, there isn't that pressure on conservatives to act in a certain way all the time. And if they don't, they'll be doxxed. They'll be revealed. People will show up at their house. People will try to get them fired. All of the things that run in line with that. That's pretty much my point.
I think those assholes try and get conservatives fired and in trouble every step of the way anyways. I mean, look, anytime anybody, a professor, for example, posts something that somebody doesn't like or doesn't make them feel good, they get in hot water. So I think they do that to conservatives just like they do it to the left also. I mean, look at that professor who was he terminated or forced to resign because he said the word niggardly?
Oh, yeah.
Which
ridiculous
has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with being stingy, not connected to any race.
And that has been a word for over 100 years, close to 200 years.
Yeah, and it has no basis in race.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with melanin.
None.
You mentioned,
and he was, and so that's why I say that.
I want to play something. It's about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less than 5 minutes, but I think this was the tipping point. You mentioned Lindsey Graham, and as you were talking, I thought, oh, okay, I know exactly what happened to Lindsey Graham.
Yes,
and when.
I do too.
And this is Lindsey Graham.
Are you aware that at 9:23 on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said, 23 minutes after your nomination, I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything less. Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Senator Dianne Feinstein on August 20th?
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it.
Yeah.
I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends.
Had been.
But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a job interview.
You consider that you've been through a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution.
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell. This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school.
Maybe
and all of a sudden you got over it.
Yep.
It's been my understanding that if you drug women and rape them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it. like the American Bar Association has, the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. The one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this. That you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
Holy crap.
Yep. I had that exact in mind series, and we talked about it back when it happened.
Yes,
as well.
we did.
And I agree, that was the turning point.
That
for Lindsey
was the tipping point for Lindsey Graham, who historically up till that point, he'd been a good friend of Jeff Flake. He'd been a friend of McCain. He'd tried to be as bipartisan as he could. He believed in compromise. That broke him.
I think so, because he has been a staunch supporter of President Trump, a staunch supporter of President Trump.
That's a time when we all know what politics is. The axiom in politics is you meet words with words and actions with actions. And very seldom do you ever see the layers underneath a politician. Seldom will you ever see the truth be spoken in such a strident and unmasked fashion. Usually politicians are much more surreptitious than this.
They won't show true, unabashed emotion.
Yeah. And
he did.
This was emotive for him. I think it became... That's the point when I think for him, the curtains parted and it did become personal. And it was, and he was very frank. The people that were once his friends, that he once would have helped push some kind of bill through.
I think just friends. By that statement, I got that it wasn't just about politics and he would at one time have helped him push legislation through. I think it was hey, you were my friend.
Yeah.
Like I would have gone and had dinner with you. We would have had lunch together. We would have broke bread together. We may disagree politically, but you're still my friend. I still think you're a good person. You think I'm a good person. And I think for him, and I haven't talked to him about this, but just the feeling I get from the emotion in his words is that's not the case. I think he saw them for what they truly are. I think it genuinely hurt him. And I think because of that, and they saw what they are purposefully doing to another good person, Justice Kavanaugh, I think that kind of, like you said, pulled the curtain back, but let them see who they really are. And how could he be friends with somebody who is legitimately not a good person, that they're willing to destroy another human being like this just for the sake of power? It's not about doing the right thing or doing the right thing for the nation or even doing the right thing for another human being. It's literally 100% about power. And I think that caused him to question, well, when they were breaking bread with me, were they also just seeking power or something from me?
Lying to my face.
Yeah.
In private circumstances.
Yeah.
I think that pulled the curtain across and illuminated to a number of people, not just Lindsey Graham, that Kavanaugh was just a piece of this whole thing about trying to completely erase Trump and people not caring at all about the American public about the benefit of America if they can just eliminate Trump.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
and we are going to talk about Iran.
I was just going to say I don't want to get into it with 9 minutes before a break.
And that transmits over to Iran. You know, somebody said, and I don't remember where it was. I probably saw it on social media, but I would wager it's true. Trump could come up with some kind of a cure for cancer, and the left and the Democrats and what I call the American media maggots would think of something negative to say about that.
I saw a pundit, and I don't remember what you would probably know what I'm talking about. I don't remember what station he was on, probably CNN. But this was his comment after Suck My Dick or whatever his name was got killed.
Salami.
Salami Oscar
Salami,
Mayer.
Salami,
I don't know what
Maloney.
whatever his name is. I'm not even going to give him credit. But he said, right decision, wrong president. And you could look it up to see who said it. I don't remember who said it or what network it was on, but I remember just kind of sifting through all of their reactions. And this jackass, I saw him say, right decision, wrong president. What the hell does that mean? Everybody in America, well, I can't say everybody, most people in America, conservatives, liberals, right, left, center, gave President Obama full credit when he had the balls to order the operation that killed Osama bin Laden. Am I wrong?
No,
you gave him credit. I gave him credit. Sean gave him credit. The conservatives that I heard gave him credit for ordering that operation. 100% the right thing to do. And President Obama had the balls to say, "Yep, go get him," and they got him. But to hear somebody say, right decision, wrong president, when you're talking about the security of not only our nation and our troops and our citizens, but people all over the world, and particularly in the Middle East, and even Iranian citizens who were killed by this fucking guy, pardon my French. But to hear some jackass say wrong president, that just tells you that it was they acknowledge that it was the proper thing to do. They just don't like that he was the one that made that call.
Exactly, which goes back to my original thought that leftist Democrats and the American media maggots will sacrifice anybody and everybody at the altar of up to and including death of American soldiers to prove that Trump is evil and wrong. Here's a quote. This is what I was looking for. This is from a guy named Matt Walsh. And it says this: does anybody doubt that if Obama had ordered this attack on Soleimani, whatever the hell his name is, every Democrat in the country would be hailing it as a bold and brave act of strategic brilliance? These people are snakes.
Yep.
No integrity at all.
Who said that?
A guy named Matt Walsh. And you know what? Absolutely correct. But this has been happening since November 9th of 2016. And it all dovetails together.
I want to take a break from that because we got 5 minutes. So I want to talk about something cool that I learned, and then when we come back, we got to get into Iran.
We'll go in. Sure,
it's too much to do. We can't leave it out on the table. So after the 9 o'clock break, we're gonna delve into Iran. And all of that entails. I mean, we're going to go before
I've got some great
Salami got killed, and talk about all that stuff. But I learned about something during my time off, and I had no idea. And it was a World War II battle. And I'm curious if you've heard of this because I did not. Did you know there was a battle, one battle, where the U.S. troops fought alongside Wehrmacht troops with one SS commander against an SS division? Were you aware of this?
Wow, I had no idea.
I didn't either.
And I've read a lot of history. You've read a lot of history.
Yeah.
We are both massive historical buffs. We love that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
so first, before you tell me the story,
I'm just going to tell you the battle. I'm not going to tell you the whole story.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you because I won't do it justice.
Okay, but first, though, I want to discover what was your source. Where did you find that information? Because you comb everything. If there's somebody that knows something about history, I know it's you.
There is a book, and the book is called The Last Battle.
Okay.
And
recent book, or it's been around for a while?
It's a recent-ish book. This battle took place May 5th, 1945, so it was the last few weeks of the war.
Okay.
And it was the battle for Castle Itter, I-T-T-E-R. So if you'd like to search that up, using your favorite search engine, probably not Google.
Castle, I-T-T-E-R?
Battle for Castle, I-T-T-E-R.
When I put that up, it says movie.
Oh.
So apparently there may be a movie about it, and it also says book.
So book is the one. The Last Battle is what it's called. But the belligerents were the United States 12th Armored Division, 142nd Infantry Regiment. There were French prisoners, the German Wehrmacht soldiers, and the Austrian resistance, with one SS Hauptsturmführer, who was one of the commanders of the leaders. Hauptsturmführer against Germany, the 17th Panzer Grenadier Division. And the long and short of it is this Castle Itter was used as an extension of the Auschwitz-Birkenau prison. So it was in Poland. And there were high-level French prisoners being held there, including the tennis star. I forget his name. But there were high-level political prisoners that the Germans were housing in this castle that was being used as an extension of the Birkenau prison camp facility. And when the Allies were rumored to be rolling in, there were towns that were falling and so forth, and there were SS Panzer divisions who were kind of roaming around, and they were engaged in combat and so forth. Well, some of the German guards fled, and the prisoners sent a cook to ask for help because they believed, obviously, that the Germans were still coming. They needed assistance. And I'm giving you the real Reader's Digest version. I highly suggest you read the book. Okay. And the long and short of it is this Wehrmacht commander was told to leave this town. They were told to retreat, and he did not retreat. He stayed to protect the town from SS patrols who were in the area that were kind of doing some bad stuff. So he stayed to kind of help protect this town. Well, this cook, and there was another prisoner that was sent out as well with letters written in English that were said, hey, the first Americans you see, we need help. And some Americans from the 12th Armored Division, 42nd Infantry were found, and they responded to help. But there was also this Wehrmacht commander in this town who got word they needed help. And so, fearing of what would happen to the prisoners, I guess, they responded together, and the Americans and this Wehrmacht unit agreed to defend this castle together against this SS division. And the SS division came, and the Americans had one tank that they parked at the entrance to kind of block, and the Wehrmacht, along with one SS officer and the United States Army, fought side by side against the 17th Panzer Grenadier Division.
When we come back, I found the book, and I found some more information that is really, I find, very interesting. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back. That's Sackheads Clint. I'm Sackheads BZ. You're listening to the SHAT Show. It's the Sackheads Against Tyranny. And again, when we come back, we're going to be talking about Iran, all the ramifications, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, what the hell is going on in the Middle East, Syria, Yemen, etc., and what the future may look like and what the future may hold for President Trump, and should this affect anything to do with the elections. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunetz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunetz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real SHAT Show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty voided Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we are back. It's the second hour. The first hour, boom, done. Good God, it went fast. Thanks to everybody for being here. Mike in chat, Dave, Alaska, and one viewer. Lots of other people that were here. Thanks for listening live. Thanks for listening in the podcast. I will post this later. It's not going to be on Periscope. I'm going to do Periscope tomorrow night for my show. Tonight I'm trying something new. Facebook started. YouTube started. This is the second night in a row that Facebook has allowed me to go onto the SHR Media Facebook page. I'm kind of shocked. I don't know what changed. I didn't do anything. I didn't make it, I didn't wave my magic wand because you know me in technology. I'm a fucking Luddite in terms of technology.
Fucking technology.
Yeah, I know. You're a little worse, thank God. In any event, you smile. Thank you for smiling. I was about to duck. In any event, Facebook was running. YouTube is running. Sean decided that he was going to start us on something called, I think it's Twitch. I thought, okay, Twitchy? I've heard of some social media thing like Twitchy, but apparently there's a...
I thought it was a condition.
Yeah, I thought it was, first I had leprosy, then I got better, and then I got the Twitch.
Right.
Well, what he said is it's some kind of a video support platform that, and you might be interested in this, it's apparently something that gamers use. It's a video platform for gamers. So I don't know.
I know what he's talking about.
Do you? So I don't know. I'm going to have to go find.
I know what he's
I'm
talking about.
going to have to go find the website. I'm going to have to go dredge up the show so that I can post it.
I don't have it, but I know what it is.
No, you've been very quiet. I haven't seen one Twitch out of you tonight, so
No.
I think that's a good thing. Yeah, except for that. Yeah. But I'm going to have to look at Twitch and find out what the hell it is. He says it.
So you had something about the last battle that you wanted to mention after the break.
Yeah, I looked it up and I went to Amazon, not necessarily to order it there. You said you're reading the book.
I just got it, just started it, yeah.
And you said you're going to be kind enough to let me read it when you get through. I see
will.
it's available on Kindle, audiobook, hardcover. If you go and you want to buy it, it's $16, $17 on paperback. The Last Battle, what's the guy's name? Okay, if you're looking for it, it's by an author named Stephen, with a PH, Harding, and it came out in 2014. But in here, and with no further explanation, it says, and this is going to be interesting, I think, soon to be a major motion picture.
And what did we say when you read that? What did we say?
And we've both said, ooh, that could be pretty good.
If they do it right.
If
they do it right. Yep. Like they did Midway.
I don't know, you and I spoke.
We talked about Midway.
We talked about
Midway.
it
on the show, yeah.
And not the first.
Because not the first.
We all liked the first Midway.
Yes. Yep.
Because they actually had, real Zeeks in there and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That was way cool.
That was way cool.
But I was all ready to kind of not like Midway. Because I thought, okay, it's going to be all CG. There aren't going to be any real planes in there at all, and
it's going to be a leftist slant.
And it's going to be they're going to skewer it. They're going to rewrite history, and it was pretty faithful.
Yep.
And it was entertaining and faithful. I liked that part. I really enjoyed that.
Iran.
Something happened.
Nothing happened.
In between points A and B, a general named Salami.
Well, before that
was the word?
Before Salami got smoked,
there was baloney.
There was stuff that was kicking off.
Well, Iran has never been quiet. I'm not sure exactly which activity you wish to reference.
We had an American contractor killed.
Yes, okay.
Correct?
Yes, we did, yes.
There was something about an embassy somewhere along the way that got attacked.
Yeah, but
by some Iranian-backed militant groups.
As someone who said historically, really, but what difference does that make?
What difference does it make?
With regard to embassies?
Yeah. An embassy was it, and then Salami happened to be in the country at the same time. Pause for a second. Question to you, BZ. Is it a big deal our embassy, and I have a two-part question. Is it a big deal our embassy was attacked by Iranian-backed militants?
Yes.
Okay.
If you consider that the ambassadorial policy and the way the game is played is that soil on which Embassy X is planted is considered, or should theoretically be considered, the home soil
yes.
of that country to whom the embassy belongs.
Yes.
So theoretically, the Iranian embassy
is Iranian.
In the United States, in New York, or excuse me, in Washington. It's in Washington because I went along. I got to tell you that story. I'll tell you that later when I was in the FBI. Anyway, moving right along. Maybe I shouldn't even tell that story. In Embassy Row, the Iranian embassy in D.C. is considered Iranian territory. So an assault on the Iranian embassy, let's say, for whatever damn reason, is considered to be an assault on Iran.
Yes.
And historically, that's how things have. We've acknowledged that, which is why diplomatic pouches, etc., people in diplomatic vehicles, you don't go rifling through diplomatic pouches, etc., etc. There are rules that you're supposed to obey.
Yes. So an attack on our embassy is a big deal. Question number 2 for you.
Yes, sir.
Since that was, in fact, an attack on American soil, why was lethal force not used? And here's my point with that. That embassy was overrun.
So many things flooded into my brain.
Oh, I know.
When you asked me that question, it's like I was thinking, do I go with that one or that one, or do I go with that? They all just went. Poof.
Yeah, I know. My brain did the same thing when I considered this. So you have an attack on American soil. They are overrunning the exterior gates into the secure area.
Right.
It's not like that area is known for suicide bombs or anything. They probably would have done violence to anybody that they were able to get their hands on. So if you have American soil being stormed by a violent group backed by Iran, even if you didn't know they were backed by Iran at the time, but they're still a violent group overwhelming a United States embassy, do we not have a right to self-defense even in the international community? I know we do. Why was lethal force not used? And it's a legitimate question. I'm not saying we should have mowed them down. I'm saying let's have the discussion. Why does the United States military not use lethal force to protect United States soil and an invasion thereof at that time? Because I guarantee you that shit wouldn't fly again.
This is me hesitating.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not advocating for it, and I'm not advocating against it.
No,
I'm asking a question in order to facilitate discussion.
Right. Historically speaking, recently, due to various presidents and stances.
I get it, but...
I know, but I'm explaining... One of my first thoughts was, no matter what happens under Trump, and especially if other people are killed, it will always be Trump's fault / America's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And the temper of the times is such that almost no matter what we do, it's going to be the fault of the United States.
Exactly.
Now, would Trump tolerate that kind of thing? Saying that it's going to be the fault of America? No, I don't think he particularly cares. But you raise an interesting issue. But now Trump seems to have set a pattern. Mm-hmm. And the pattern is, you shot down my drone, and you didn't kill anybody in the embassy, and maybe this just specifically works with Iran and nobody else, I'm not sure. But his trend that he is setting is, unless an American is killed, I'm going to hold back. And God, that's so many other questions are flooding into my brain housing group right now, and so many other directions that I could go with that question. But we didn't lose anybody. We lost a contractor, tit for tat in terms of salami. was, and I found a very salacious, interesting bit about salami. But the trend seems to be that unless an American is killed, there's not going to be
okay. But I'm talking at the moment,
an other response.
Right? At the moment, the security forces there at the embassy are in the process of people are attempting to overrun them. Correct? They're attempting to storm the embassy. They're attempting to get over and scale the fences. They're attempting to attack. They are attacking the embassy and actively trying to breach that perimeter. Why would, in that moment, and I do it because I'm illustrating the restraint of the U.S. forces, right? For all the leftists out there that want to think that they're a bunch of freaking murdering pricks.
Okay.
But in that moment, I believe the soldiers show great restraint in not using that force in order to defend the violence of that attack against U.S. soil. So my questions again are: okay. Would it have been legal? I think it would have. It would
have been legal.
And why not?
Here comes a yabbit.
I love these discussions.
They are. They're curious.
They are, and not because
I. Yes, you are a contrarian, but I enjoy the places they go.
Yeah.
By your doing so.
This is important.
You can't tell me that, like various cops who watch what happened in Ferguson, there aren't soldiers in the sandbox who didn't understand and see what happened to Lieutenant Clint Lawrence. What was his name? I think it was Clint Lawrence, but it's not spelled Leurence. It's Lowrance, I think, for people that want to, check it out on your favorite search engine. So he went to Leavenworth and did time for green-lighting a couple of Muslim dudes on a motorcycle, knowing that there was a history of Muslim dudes on motorcycles blowing up soldiers. Mm-hmm. And this guy had only been in country as a lieutenant. I think that was his third day. And a lot of the troops that were there didn't really care for him. I don't know if this enters into the equation or not, but the dude was gay. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That's just one of the things that I happen to know about him. But a lot of the soldiers that were there immediately railed against him and said that's the wrong thing to do. Say what you will about whether that's right or whether that's wrong in a theater of war. That opens up ROEs, rules of engagement. All of those things are opened up to question. But this dude went to Leavenworth behind that. And you can't tell me that somewhere in the reptile brain of all these soldiers, some of them are thinking, Lawrence.
So if
and some other guys. There were some other guys too. There was a guy named Goldstein and a spec warfare guy named Gallagher, I think.
Yeah. So if United States protesters stormed the Iranian embassy and started causing damage and were attempting to attack the embassy, and these protesters were, I don't know, American militia groups backed by the United States government, would Iran have utilized?
Well, that's caustic. Wow.
What would
just throwing it in there, Clint? Aren't you just throwing it?
Throwing
it in there.
If it's good for the goose,
you gotta ask. My guess would be there'd be a bunch of dead Americans.
100%, 100%. And if they opened up on those Americans, would the United States retaliate against Iran? Would the world rally to the cause of the Americans and the murder that was created on those poor defenseless U.S. citizens who were merely trying to make a point? Fuck no, they wouldn't. They would say those Americans were violating the sovereignty of the
what the House would say.
Iran.
You know what the House would say. You already know what the House would say.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
So,
but goose and gander. I always go with goose and gander.
Mm-hmm.
Until everybody is equal, nobody is equal. Well, there is no equality in terms of the United States. From within, there's no equality.
Yeah. In Alaska,
and
they did get into the perimeter. Alaska, and you can actually see the pictures online from what they did to the.
Yeah, they did get inside.
They did get inside.
And if I'm not mistaken, and correct me, Clint, this was the most expensive embassy that we have in the world?
I believe so. I believe that is correct.
And I'm sure there's a lot of juicy stuff that Iran would love to get their hands on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They shot down our drone. They have continuously mined the Straits of Hormuz. And I find this interesting because I was watching, I was watching CNN today.
Why?
Just because.
Yeah.
Just because, every once in a while. And they were saying something similar to, well, we can't, this was an actual argument. I can't remember the guy. It wasn't any kind of a name character. He was some white dude, a Gaup, guilty overeducated white person, who was saying, we have to be very careful about what it is we do in the Middle East because they're the greatest source of oil that we have.
He's a friggin' idiot.
No one on that board, that panel, made any retort to that in terms of we are energy efficient. Now, stop. I got to tell you this thing about salami in a second, but stop. Wouldn't the stock market today, after what happened yesterday, if this was all about oil and the cessation of oil production, wouldn't the stock market have gone bong today? No, the stock market went up 100 points. So apparently, any kind of an interruption in oil in the minds of the people that were on the stock market today, that wasn't a big thing. That wasn't important. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about salami that I just discovered today as well. He came into the Baghdad airport to meet with the leader of Hezbollah in Iraq.
Yes.
So this is a bad dude meeting another bad dude.
Mm-hmm. A terrorist meeting another terrorist.
Yeah, and this is a guy who figures, I think, that he had carte blanche to go anywhere he wanted in Iraq, except this. Did he go in by way of a military jet?
That I don't know.
No, he went commercial. Ooh. Do you know why he went commercial? Because you can't shoot him down. And it's like all the various Muslims that stand behind citizens and have massive caches of arms in mosques. This is how this turd got into Iraq, hiding behind the skirts of civilians in a civilian commercial airliner, not in a military jet. To me, that bespeaks volumes about this guy.
I did not know that. Makes sense.
I found that very interesting. It's like, but you need to remember that even though you're an Iranian general in Iraq, you're playing the big game with big toys and big boys. So you got to figure, and he didn't, that he didn't think that I'm subject to any of this stuff. I guess he figured that once he made it there on the airliner, he had the continuing King's X. But as I was talking about last night, the window to hit this dude was very, very small. We just took an opportunity of that. But very few people in the media, in the major media, I haven't seen one person say or ask, what is an Iranian general of a sovereign nation called Iran doing in, allegedly, a sovereign nation called Iraq? Coordinating terror.
Yes.
No one has asked that question.
Nobody on the left has asked that
No
question.
one on the left has asked that question.
Donald Trump has come out and said that. And I thought, if you missed Donald Trump's speech today.
I have it.
I think that is one. I know we're coming up on a break here, and I don't know how long it is.
It's 10 minutes.
But he lays out
his first sentence.
His first sentence.
First sentence.
But he lays out the case right then and there for why we did what we did, and lays out his case for, hey, look, here's why we did what we did. Here's why we're going to continue to do what we did. And all these leftists calling him a warmonger and look what he's trying to do to us. There's really not much that they could say, and I do want to hear that. I do want to hear that speech. But before we do, I saw an article from December 30th, and folks, with everything going on in the world, I just want you, if you missed this, I want you to kind of just think about this for a minute. With everything going on, with impeachment going on, with everything in Trump's presidency, and this article was from December 30th, so this was pre-Salami.
Okay.
Getting killed. Excuse me. A Gallup poll was conducted between December 2nd and December 15th.
All right.
And the Gallup poll was about who is the most admired person around right now. Who is the most admired man? And Donald.
Now this is U.S.
Gallup. Yeah. Well, it just says the most admired man.
Okay. Right.
Donald Trump and Barack Obama tied for number one.
Okay.
And this is a Gallup poll.
Okay.
Donald Trump and Barack Obama tied for the most admired man. Think about that.
I have another very interesting thing to tell you before the break. But is this indicative, Clint, of the continuing Teflon nature of OMB?
I don't think it's Teflon. I think the fact that he is tied with Barack Obama as the most admired man tells you exactly what you need to know on where middle America is in relation to the re-election of Donald Trump.
I was listening to Laura Logan, who's on Fox, whatever the hell it is, saying essentially that when she's been to Texas, to various parts of the Midwest recently in the past week or two, she said, nobody's talking about impeachment. Nobody cares. They're talking about the economy, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing I want to tell you before we go to the break, well, let me ask you, do you want to do the break?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll do the break. So this shouldn't take more than about a minute. There's a guy on Twitter called Tim O'Brien. I don't know if it's the author Tim O'Brien who served in Vietnam. I looked into this guy a little bit, and I looked at the nature of his tweets, and he's far left.
Okay.
So he put a poll. You on Twitter, you can make a poll. You can create a poll. I've created some polls. So the question for his poll is, everybody feeling safer with Trump at the helm as the military and diplomatic stakes escalate in Iran and with the rest of the Arab world? So with that question, you can see the nature inherent in the question.
He's trying to frame it.
So there's luckily he only put, you can vote yes or you can vote no. Subsequently, after the poll closed, he deleted the poll, but I captured it. The poll is yes, I feel safer with Trump, 86%. The people said no, 19%. And then he deleted his poll.
86% and 19% no?
15%, I'm sorry.
Okay. 86 and 15?
Okay, 85 and 15. Okay, so I need this is I'm looking at my screen right here. It's the numbers. The numbers are really, really small.
Can you post the screenshot? You should retweet it back to that guy. Yeah. Just be like, hey, I saw you deleted this, just in case you needed a reminder.
That's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
That's very dickish.
What are you talking about? Look, all I'm saying is it's possible the guy deleted it on accident and he wishes there was a way he could get it back. You're just trying to help the guy out.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break.
I mean, that's his work product.
Oh, that's dickish.
What are you talking about?
Everybody
who wants to see us do that?
Yeah. Raise your hands.
Raise your hand.
Conservative
unanimous.
media
yeah.
done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian, Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real SHAT Show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Some of the people in chat were asking me, hey, how many people voted on that poll that this guy Tim O'Brien deleted? So I went back and I looked. By the way, I'm sorry, you're listening to the Sackheads Against Tyranny. It's a real SHAT show at shrmedia.com. I know it's a little late, but if you want to get into the chat room, go to shrmedia.com. And you can go right there. Mike, Dave, Alaskan, and one viewer. I appreciate everybody that's here and everybody that's been in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. Thanks to the American Trucker. You make American move. and keep it moving and flowing. So I went back and I looked at that tweet. And it wasn't as though, like on my on my polls that I put out, I'll get maybe 50 votes, okay? This guy had 44,000 votes. And it took it, and it kind of slammed him upside the Mark 1 Model 1 head.
Yeah.
And now I understand why he took it down.
44,000 votes and 89,
85,
86, 85. What did we finally agree on? 85%.
I mean, okay, well, ask. 85 and 15 is 100, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Divided by...
That's what it was. So it was 85% who said, yeah, we think Trump's doing the right thing. And 15% who said, no. And then the next thing you know, off with his head. Off with the pole.
Yeah. Send it back to him. Anybody, if you could find it and send it back to this guy and be like, hey, we know how much you love truth, so you probably deleted this by accident.
Yeah. Here's your poll.
You can repost it. Here's your poll back.
Yeah. Here's your poll.
And then just keep resending it every time you post it.
This, I still think this is great. We can play as much of it as we want. There's a lot of stuff that goes up front. The very first damn sentence is great on this. I don't know how many of you happen to listen to this. Now, Suleiman, Trump...
Salami.
I'm sorry.
Come on,
Good point.
Salami.
Good point. Last night, Trump was not going to make a statement from the White House.
Which I think was smart.
Because my guess would be he was busy as hell.
Oh, yeah. My guess was, I'm going to fucking kill him. Bob, send everything. Mr. President, we might want to wait and see how this plays out. Fuck them. Send everything. Yeah, they're fired. Fuck them. That's my guess of how that conversation went. And so I was actually happy he did not make a speech last night.
Yeah, because it might not have gone like this one.
I do like that. I do like that he sent a tweet. I do like that he let the nation know, hey, all good. We're assessing it.
Yeah,
looks to be okay so far. We're assessing it. I'll be making a statement tomorrow. I like that he wasn't silent on it.
No, that's right. In terms of that, yes, he kept people in the loop. So that's admirable.
By the way, before we get to the Trump speech, because I know we're going to talk about it, BZ, but I do want to get to one point of this that I'm not hearing a whole lot about,
right.
And that is the ramifications of the salami freaking operation and the impact in Syria, and that is Iran.
All right.
So Syria is kind of bolstered up by Iran and Russia,
yes.
right? Iran and Russia both. Well, with Salami dead, does it kind of leave a vacuum a little bit there in Syria, and Syria has been spending some time cozying up to Iran, and that's potentially causing some issues with Russia and Iran struggling for control, or struggling for influence in Syria. So that's kind of an interesting side play that's important to think about, particularly you're about to play President Trump's speech. And President Trump actually mentions Russia. I mean, he mentions several countries, but Russia is one of the countries that he mentions as well about getting on board with this stuff, which is interesting, particularly, to me anyways, particularly given the fact that, well, there's some ramifications there in Syria with Salami dead with both Iran and Russia. So
here's something that I didn't not understand. Here's something that I hadn't heard until today. 2 points. Trump is going to put the screws to even greater sanctions, economic sanctions. Currently, Iran enjoys a 75% inflation rate. Iran also enjoys a 40% unemployment rate, which is interesting because Iran sees itself essentially as Persia, and historically speaking, Iranians are well-educated. They do not adhere as much as they can within parameters to the Khomeinis, and they embrace technology. And despite that, the Khomeinis in Iran have tanked the country, and it's only going to get a little bit worse. You mentioned Trump twittering. I find this also very interesting. This came out a day ago from Jim Acosta, of all people. Today marks the 301st day without a traditional White House briefing. Longest stretch of time with no briefing. The previous record was 42 days. So what that was is Jimmy Acosta is really sad that he doesn't get enough FaceTime puffing and pontificating against the president. And what this actually does is simply confirm how irrelevant you are. And that's why Trump tweets. The other aspect of that is, could you have taken all the crap that Sarah Huckabee used to take? Sarah Huckabee Sanders used to take?
Not as well as she did.
Not as well as she did. Okay, here's Trump's speech.
I don't have that personality.
No, oh my God. No, you don't. And I'll be the first to admit, me neither. I don't have that.
Oh, if I ever get elected president, you're going to be my fucking press secretary. Don't think for a second.
As long as I'm president of the United States, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
What?
Not a hello.
What did he say?
Not a hi, I'm President
As long
Trump.
as I'm president of the United States, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Good morning. I'm pleased to inform you the American people should be extremely grateful and happy. No Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime.
Okay, can I stop here for just a second? The reason I want to stop here is, there's so much stuff that I want to go into. And I'm finding it because I got all these
17 minutes.
Stories up here.
17 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
I think we'll
just want to play it through?
Be able to do it.
Want to just play it through and discuss at the end?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Son of a bitch, I can't find it. Okay, we're going to continue with this. I'll have to come back to it.
We suffered no casualties. All of our soldiers are safe, and only minimal damage was sustained at our military bases. Our great American forces are prepared for anything. Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. No American or Iraqi lives were lost because of the precautions taken, the dispersal of forces, and an early warning system that worked very well. I salute the incredible skill and courage of America's men and women in uniform. For far too long, all the way back to 1979 to be exact, nations have tolerated Iran's destructive and destabilizing behavior in the Middle East and beyond. Those days are over. Iran has been the leading sponsor of terrorism, and their pursuit of nuclear weapons threatens the civilized world. We will never let that happen. Last week, we took decisive action to stop a ruthless terrorist from threatening American lives. At my direction, the United States military eliminated the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani. As the head of the Quds Force, Soleimani was personally responsible for some of the absolutely worst atrocities. He trained terrorist armies, including Hezbollah, launching terrorist strikes against civilian targets. He fueled bloody civil wars all across the region. He viciously wounded and murdered thousands of U.S. troops, including the planting of roadside bombs that maim and dismember their victims. Soleimani directed the recent attacks on U.S. personnel in Iraq that badly wounded 4 service members and killed 1 American, and he orchestrated the violent assault on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. In recent days, he was planning new attacks on American targets, but we stopped him. Soleimani's hands were drenched in both American and Iranian blood. He should have been terminated long ago. By removing Soleimani, we have sent a powerful message to terrorists.
That's an American president saying something that's essentially unprecedented, but this is one of the reasons that people admire Trump. Mm-hmm. He says what we're thinking. Mm-hmm. Okay, like you said, we gave props to Obama when he took out Osama bin Laden. As well we should have, and we did. But this guy says things that people are thinking and saying, and now in today's PC culture, it's another reason he's hated.
If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our people. As we continue to evaluate options in response to Iranian aggression, the United States will immediately impose additional punishing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. These powerful sanctions will remain until Iran changes its behavior. In recent months alone, Iran has seized ships in international waters, fired an unprovoked strike on Saudi Arabia, and shot down 2 U.S. drones. Iran's hostilities substantially increased after the foolish Iran nuclear deal was signed in 2013.
Boom, to Obama.
And they were given $150 billion, not to mention $1.8 billion in cash. Instead of saying thank you to the United States, they chanted death to America. In fact, they chanted death to America the day the agreement was signed. Then Iran went on a terror spree, funded by the money from the deal, and created hell in Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Afghanistan, and Iraq. The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration. The regime also greatly tightened the reins on their own country, even recently killing 1,500 people at the many protests that are taking place all throughout Iran.
Okay, I got to tell you right now. I have to ask you right now. Do we wait about 2 weeks and we wait and see? No, that's a poor way of phrasing it. Okay, Clint. Will we see a reactive force again? In other words, will we see more protests by Iranians, mostly in Tehran, because of these conditions, do you think? Or at this point,
not
are the people in Iran tamped down? They're thinking this is the wrong time to do that crap.
I think they're thinking it's the wrong time to do that crap.
Okay, all right.
The very defective JCPOA expires shortly anyway and gives Iran a clear and quick path to nuclear breakout.
Okay, I've always wondered this. Maybe you have the answer. I surely don't. Going back a little bit, why did Obama bend over backwards to do everything that the Iranians wanted, squandered all that American taxpayer cash, made the deal essentially on a C-17 with a pallet full of cash in the dead of night, in order to unfroze assets, in order to keep this deal that a 5-year-old could see was flawed, because the greatest predictor or indicator of future behavior is current or past behavior or the lack thereof.
That's using logic. Here's my answer. I really believe...
I never got that.
I really believe that President Obama, and this is why I say I disagree with him on a fundamental level with his policies, with his policy with the Middle East. I think he genuinely believed that America was not the best country on earth. I think he genuinely believed that America is a nation of oppression for minorities. I think he genuinely believes that the Muslim countries in the world are not given a fair shake by the United States or Israel. And I think he genuinely believed that if he gave away the farm, so to speak, if he showed how much that he wasn't against them as a people, I think he genuinely believed that Iran would respond, that they would say, okay, maybe America is trying to change and we don't have to hate them so much. I think he genuinely believed that. And I think that his policies, completely misguided, completely devoid of any understanding of history, I think that is what led his foreign policy, particularly as he dealt with Iran. I think he genuinely believed that would be the best thing for America, that Iran would stop doing all their bullshit, stop being so hostile to the U.S., maybe Israel. I don't think he really gave two shits about Israel.
No, I think that's clear.
But really stop being as hostile to the U.S., and maybe they could work something out, and in this 10-year period that Iran won't get a nuclear weapon, we can show that the United States people are really loving and accepting, and we can actually build a relationship. I think that is really what he believed in his heart. I think it's foolish. I think it's misguided. I think it is 100% wrong. I think Iran demonstrates that on a regular basis, how wrong that is, and I think history dictates that as well. But when you ask why I think Obama did that, I think he was a true believer. I really do.
But doesn't that confirm for you, in my opinion, that his thought patterns are so completely, fundamentally flawed?
Yes.
And so totally ignorant of the nature of not just human beings, but 1,000 years of the Middle East.
Yes.
Are you that ignorant?
Yes. Yes, look where he was educated and schooled.
It's just
so if you look at President Obama's life, how he was raised, brought up, educated, it makes perfect sense. Does it not?
Yeah, but just okay. There I went with a yabbit.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was ever educated in any facility or with any groups of people or around people who really believed the United States was exceptional or saw that United States didn't bring slavery here. We ended slavery. We ended slavery and oppression. And although we're not perfect, we've done more to make strides in these areas and address our shortcoming than any other nation on earth. And we have a freer people than any other nation on earth. He never got that. So you have 40 some odd years of training and education and everything else that paints America as one way, that I believe that is truly what he believed. I think President Obama did what he truly believed was the right thing for his deeply flawed country, full of racism and hate,
discontent, badness,
that he truly wanted to help this country turn around and be part of the global community, be accepting to all. And again, I disagree with it. I'm not trying to make excuses for the man or his policies.
You're making, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but I look, I harbor no ill will towards Barack Obama because I think he truly did what he believed was in the best interest for the country. However misguided and wrong it is, and not based on historical fact at all, most of it anyways, I think that in his heart he believed he was doing the right thing. I really do.
And yet, many people find him insufficiently now. These days, insufficiently left for the left.
Yes.
Here's an interesting article. This is what I wanted to do, and I just found it today. Came out. MSNBC. This is the headline from dailycaller.com. This is the nature of the American media maggots today. MSNBC airs baseless Iranian propaganda about dead U.S. soldiers. MSNBC gave airtime to baseless Iranian propaganda alleging the Islamic Republic had killed 30 American military members in missile attacks Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
So MSNBC gave credence to Iranian propaganda. Stop. What if your son was in Iraq, let's say at that base, and now, despite what hasn't really been confirmed yet, let's say it's last night, and now MSNBC comes out with this, and now you have conflicting information, wouldn't one of the first things you'd be saying or doing is, I want to know, is my son safe? And this is the incredible disservice that these shitheads do to America. They'd rather go and promote Iranian propaganda.
Yes.
And, you know, that you have a son in Iraq, fuck you. Politics takes precedence.
Yes, because why is your son a baby killer member of the military? Yeah, 100%. But the good news is, how many people with children deployed Blue or Gold Star families watch MSNBC? How many people watch MSNBC? That's the good news. Anybody watching that show probably doesn't have family deployed.
But this is what happened. MSNBC's Chris Matthews
is a fat piece of shit.
There you go. Brought in NBC News.
Another piece of shit.
Tehran bureau chief.
Another piece of shit.
Some guy named Ali Arouzi, who repeated the Iranian claims to MSNBC's national audience.
Of what, like 6 people?
These days.
Yeah.
There's so much more that we could talk about. We've reached the end of the show.
We have.
I'm going to be here next week. Are you going to be here next week?
I will be here next week. Where do we go from here? That's
a good question.
So one
That's
thing we
a
didn't talk
really
about, I know we got
good
another
question.
minute, but look, President Trump gave Iran an out. He said, okay, that was cute. Okay, you launched some shit and blew a couple things up. That was cute. Now look, if you're serious about this, we want you to prosper as a nation. Don't fuck up. We will kill you. But we want you to prosper as a nation. We have a common enemy in ISIS. If you'd like to come together and talk, let's talk about some things we can actually do together. Oh, and by the way, Great Britain and Germany and China and Russia, these guys are a problem for you too, so maybe you need to get on board. And by the way, NATO's gonna be stepping up because I'm going to be having a conversation with them. Good night.
Yeah.
That's basically what he said. So it's going to be the next
very true.
The next week is going to be very interesting to see if NATO. I do think it's interesting how Italy's like, yeah, nope, we're not going anywhere. We're staying right here. Great Britain,
somebody pulled out troops before this. I'm trying to think of what nation yanked all their troops out of the base.
Was it Canada?
No.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But Great Britain did not take military option off the table, if you noticed today. They said, wait, they still freaking seized a couple of our ships. So we'll see what happens.
Boris Badenoff. No, Boris Johnson.
So
can you imagine, folks, including Dave, can you imagine the UK under Jeremy Corbyn? HMOG, Holy Mother of God.
This next week will be interesting.
Would you guys ever be screwed? Holy crap. We've had a great time. 2 hours has gone by just like that.
Well, like
thanks.
Like this. 2 hours have gone by just like this.
Just like this. Thanks for reading the intro tonight. I enjoyed that.
You're welcome. How'd I do?
I think you did great.
0 practice, by the way, in case any of you were wondering.
That's what impressed me. And the other thing is, you and I, neither one of us talked about what we were going to say on the show tonight, did we? We had a pretty good idea.
We had a pretty damn good. There was enough shit happening that we had a pretty good idea.
Probably would have started with the letter I, but despite that, we didn't come up with a bunch of stuff. So anyway, we're going to be here next week. You're going to be here?
I'll be here.
I'm going to be here next
Are
Wednesday.
you going to be here?
I'm going to be here.
I'm talking to our
folks. Yeah,
Are you
need to be here.
Okay.
You did.
Excellent.
You need to be here.
Thank you for everybody in the chat room. Thank you for everyone who's joining me tonight and joining BZ. And thank you for joining me.
Hey.
I'm glad your house didn't flood.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, folks. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.